here. The demand for this particular program was really huge, so we had to make it possible. And we really appreciate you all for making out the time to be here. So while we indicate in the chat where we're joining from, my name is Samba Utavis. I am the CEO and founder of Solavisetech, and by the grace of God, we currently have Dr. Kizito. I think he just joined. Dr. Kizito, I think I just saw you in the house. Welcome. Good to have you, sir. So, who is the co-founder?
Thank you, Dr. Samba.
Thank you, sir. So, right now we're about to continue with our cybersecurity program, and we're going to be having Kevin all the way from Nairobi, Kenya, head this particular session with us and the entire program itself. We are equally blessed to have Engineer Akam Dasi from the US, cyber security and cloud engineer and DevOps expert, together with Engineer Pride from Canada, who's been serving as a senior cybersecurity analyst as well for quite a long time, more than 15 years. And we are so blessed that they made out this time to come give you all value for free and orientation. Why should we take a look at this opportunity? It's not my day. I'm just here to introduce and to say that each and every one of you who has made out the time to follow through this session, do well to really give it the attention that it deserves, so they can be able to get as much value as possible out of this. I know you would have been maybe busy doing something else, but you decided to make that sacrifice to be up to now, and to really appreciate you. So we have Mr. Akam Dasi from Florida, USA, Elias from Ethiopia. Thank you, Aaron from Cameroon, Douala. So let's just drop in the chat. I'm equally here in Cameroon, Bafoussam. So we have Kwasu from Ghana. So we have these countries represented. It's amazing. Our training is going to be running 100% virtual. And we currently have Kenya in the house, Buru, Karanja, Steve from Kenya, Eugene. Guys, great. Let's keep them coming. We currently have Kevin in the house, who is going to be heading this particular session. And so we are really blessed to have experts who know what they are saying, who know what they're going to be talking about. So I want to just take this moment to pass it over once again to Kevin. This is going to run maybe for the next 1 hour and 30 minutes. I want each and every one of you to be very attentive as much as possible. Ask your questions maybe in the chat, as well as you can write them down. You can raise your hand when appropriate. You call up to ask your question, but make good use of this particular session. And there is a promise at the end of this, right? Which means that those who are going to go through this program successfully today, starting on Monday, there's going to be an intensive program to take you through another session, right? Where you'll be able to have more insights to what you should expect in the proper training itself. So before you make a decision, maybe to take this career path, right, you should know exactly what you're trying to get into. So that's what this session for today is tailored towards. So let me now pass it over to Kevin. Kevin, you have the mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Samba. And I think this would be an awesome time. I don't know whether Dr. Kizito can unmute and say hi before we get into the meat of the matter, where the rubber meets the road. So, Dr. Kizito, are you able to unmute and say hi?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Samba, and thank you, Kevin. It's a pleasure to welcome every one of you here today. This is an amazing opportunity where Solavisetech, that just started like a year ago, is trying to bring talents together. We already have the talents on board. We want to give the chance to these talents to be able to teach, mentor, coach, or whatever you want to call it. You guys, whether you have any knowledge or background in IT or not, you're going to have an amazing session, amazing training with these experts, right? Kevin in Kenya, Kenya. We have Akam here in the US with me. We have Pride in Canada, and many others that will be joining this team of experts to give you the knowledge you deserve to go out there and secure jobs in the IT world. The IT world is growing. It's it's going to be an amazing, say, 10 years from now, because you are joining the IT world at this particular time where you want to have the skills you need to be able to survive in the IT world, get a good paying job. You can work from home, you can travel to and work with companies anywhere in the world. Like Dr. Samba has said, it's going to be virtual. And at one moment, it's going to be one-on-one. If you need help one-on-one, we will be ready to provide those skills to you. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all welcome. Again, my name is Kizito Tembo, Dr. Kizito. I'm here in the US, and it's a pleasure welcoming all of you. Thank you, Kevin and Dr. Samba.
Thank you so much. Dr. Kizito and Dr. Samba are really awesome beings, and it's always a pleasure working with you at Solavisetech. As maybe that's a good cue for me to introduce myself. My name is Kevin Tui. I wear so many hats for those who know me in Kenya, but here today I'm actually coming through as the CTO and the board member of Solavisetech Institute and running the cybersecurity curriculum, where you've already been told there's a lot of goodies for you. From starting to on Monday, we are having a 5-day free intensive kind of a workshop. We're going to learn about different kinds of topics. And when you are looking at this curriculum with Dr. Samba and Dr. Kizito, the message was very clear to me that we don't want to train people for certifications. We want to train people to be job ready, to be ready to take on the challenges of the workplace, to be ready to secure, whether it is the cloud, whether it's the network, whether it's the application, whether it's even the data. So all those are going to, the way the program is structured is in a way that every module is so encompassing, and you're going to get a lot of value from it. But we said we couldn't want to do it and just dive onto the technical. We want to show you that there are people there in the field. There are people like Akam and Sema who are making strides in this field of cybersecurity, and they'll be able to share with you the journey that they've been able to go through up to the point, and some of the things that maybe you should look out for, some of the privileges that you're gaining that you didn't have, that they didn't have themselves, right? So we are definitely going to get right onto it, and without any order, just anyone who's going to unmute first between Dr. Akam and Akam and Sema. You're going to start by introducing yourself and just telling us what inspired you to pursue a career in cybersecurity. That would be awesome for the audience to know. Did you just find yourself there? Did you just, were all the roles taken up? Then you just be told that cybersecurity is the only one left for you. It's either you take this or you go home. Or what really inspired you? Was it something that came from a childhood? It would be great for the audience to know. So without further ado, Akam or Sema, please take it away on that question.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Why not? We should go alphabetically. I think his name comes first, then maybe Akam will go first. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Akam, please.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right. So I'm really happy to be here and to be part of this team. You know, my name is Akam Dasi Mark, and I've been in the IT world since the year 2000. I know a lot of people be like, wow, that's a lot of years. But yeah, that's when I knew about computers, when we were still working with Windows 95, DOS in general though. And my path through secondary school has been electrical engineering, but I fell in love with computer when I had the opportunity to get one. It was a Pentium 1 from my uncle in Germany at that time. And I was curious because since I went to a technical school, I've always wanted to understand how things work, you know. And since then, while doing electrical engineering in secondary and high school, every summer holiday, I'll be curious. I'll go to, computer schools just to learn throughout the summer. And after my high school, I took 15 months in computer maintenance and networking training. And that was how I just transition from electrical to computer. And ever since, I've been working in the field professionally. I started as a maintenance technician, went up to being a network technician, and after that, I started working as a network and system administrator. And the field was so interesting. And there was one time while I was in Cameroon, the cyber cafe that I was working on was attacked by a serious virus, and nobody could fix it. The seniors that I was working with, they were so like, the network was down completely. And I started doing my research. I was opportune to have internet access at that time because, in Cameroon too, it was difficult to get internet access. So when I started researching and I saw how to remediate some kind of attacks, and I just said, well, you know what, let me just try it. Downloaded, that time, I think it was Norton Boot Doctor, and I did recover the server, brought back the network up. I was like, so this is something that I want to further to, understand what it takes. And when the network came back up, everybody was like, how did you do it? I said, well, this is the thing I did. And then I started doing further research. And after that, I'm like, you know what? I need to further my studies. I went to India and I spent 2 years in India. I did ethical hacking. That's when I got myself right deep into the cyber security field, because I'm like, before I understand how to protect, I need to understand how it's done. So when I did ethical hacking, I understood how to break into computers, any type of network systems and so on. Then from there, I studied countermeasures, and I started, understanding programming. I had to learn Python. I started with C programming, went to C++, because as a cybersecurity expert, you have to understand how applications work. So in that way, and then I went deep into networking. Also, I had to do right up to the CCIE, but my goal was not to get certification. My goal was to understand advanced networking, advanced system engineering, then went into web development just to understand how all of this connect together. And when I had that understanding, then I started focusing on how to design a secure infrastructure and how to protect them. So the story is a bit long, but I'm just cutting it short because I don't want to take a lot of time. So when cloud came out, I also dived into cloud. I'm like, you know what? I don't stop there. There were a lot of mistakes I made along the way because I didn't have a mentor. I was just studying everything here and there. But one thing I learned was I love to teach others. And that also made me to let me get into training. So ever since, I've been mentoring people one-on-one as well. And I also have a company here in the US, which I do consulting. And back in Cameroon, Further Solutions, we have a bunch of clients that we secure the infrastructure. And it's been a great journey. So I faced a lot of challenges because, just talking my thing like the road was smooth. Trust me, there were times I wanted to give up. I'm like, especially when I was trying to learn programming, it was something that when I still think about it, I'm like, it's a good challenge, because getting into something that you're learning on your own was a little bit difficult, because I didn't have all the funds to pay for classes at that time, and also I was like doing my research on my own, made some mistakes, and watching other people grow, joined LinkedIn, started asking questions, connecting with people. Hey, other resources online like Reddit, where I would go on there, ask questions, and I'll get response and things like that. So I will tell you, cybersecurity, when it all started, people did not really saw the value, but now it's a field that is required. Like, we cannot do without cybersecurity because there's a lot of things happening. The world at that time was not really like it hasn't yet gone digital. But imagine how many billion people are online. Imagine how many like resources are online that needs to be kept secure, right? So it's been a good journey, and I really want to encourage those who want to get into it that you just have to stay focused. That's the thing. Draw up a plan. And one other thing that I learned was just not learning the technical skill. I also had to learn soft skills, because if you can have the skills and knowledge, and if you're not able to communicate with a team, or maybe explain what you're doing, you will not be valuable in any organization. So I know that my brother Kevin here, Pride, and Solavisetech, we are going to give you the best. And I am open to any questions anytime if you want to ask me. Yeah, I will stop here for now. And if later on, then if you want me to talk about, yeah, I'll come up again. Thank you.
Thank you, Akam, for that. That was super comprehensive. Without further ado, I'll take it to Pride. And Pride, please make sure you don't answer all my questions.
Sure.
And let me not have the work. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. So, I'm Pride Sema. I'll give a different perspective, making sure that I don't repeat what Akam has said. He's put out there a lot, making it clear for everyone that cybersecurity or IT security or whatsoever you want to call cloud security is not just for a particular set of people. First thing is the interest. If you develop interest towards it and then you put in some time, you don't necessarily need to have an IT background, that an undergraduate or whatsoever, you can make it. So I'll share some vivid story about myself. Yeah, I used to hear computer, go to IT, but the first time I came in front of a computer when we were doing DOS, having the DOS prompt. That was in the year 2000. Maybe some people are lucky, some people were born. I wouldn't be surprised if I have some people here who were not born by then. But I was in the university. I was my second year in the university. That's when I first came across a computer. That was in 1990. That was 1997. Yeah, when I had my first email address, which I still have to date. So, so I developed a lot of interest in that. And in some years back around the 2000s, I went to the foremost in Cameroon, those from Cameroon. I studied at the University of Yaoundé 1. I came out with a bachelor's degree in mathematics and computer science. I did a little bit of teaching maths and computer science. Then I did some, I'm lucky that I did something in math and science, and then computer science. I did some teaching. And I went, yeah, Kevin, that was yahoo.co.uk. I still have the email, yeah. Okay, so, and then I did some teaching. Then I moved to England. I did some support work, desk side support work as an IT support staff, desktop. But just to tell you that my studies, it was not deep into computer science. It was more into mathematics and computer science. But the interest I had, I kept like pursuing, doing like, I like more technical stuff, fixing computers. And like, if you see my office, my computers here, I go and buy scrap and I build them up. So but I've never done hardware. So I'm like an enthusiast. I like to adventure into these things to see how they work, asking questions and making verifications. So then I was in England doing IT desk-side support for a while, 2.5 years. I didn't like it there, and I moved to Canada. I've been in Canada for close to 15 years. Yeah, 14, 15 years. And when I came back here, there was that need, like, I wanted to do the same thing, but I wanted more, because in life, the needs or what my expectations, the payers where the money was one of the incentive, would not like leave me stay at that level of IT, desk side support staff or so. So because of my interest, I moved up to do. I took a postgraduate degree in information system security management. Okay, why I brought this up is to let the people know, just encourage us, everyone here, that while doing that program is an IT professional program, but I have people who came to do that is called IT security somehow, from people who had background in accounting, people who were nurses, people who were in agriculture. They came to do a postgraduate course in IT. So this to let you know that it's not just science, or you have to do computer science, but if you build that interest and have that love for humanity, you can come up to protect. So quickly moving forward, rolling forward to, I've worked as an IT security analyst since 2011. So I work in IT cybersecurity, and then I moved to my company or different companies. So where I had contracts, they started going and embracing cloud technologies, and those changes forced me to like go back and do some studies about cloud security engineering. So presently, I work as a cloud security engineer, and I think more conversations will happen as we move along. I just want to end here, but yeah, thank you, Kevin.
Let's give Akam and Sema some virtual applause there. I can see you can be able to do that. Those are amazing journeys. I was just writing down on my digital notes here, and one thing that is coming out from both of you is curiosity and interest, right? That is what took you to where you are. And what I got from Akam is that it's quite a journey, starting from here, getting into maybe networking, getting into programming, and at some point you sometimes can doubt yourself. You can wonder, am I really on the right path? Should I go back to the crossroads and rethink whether I should go back, I should do cyber security, or do what everyone is doing, software development, cloud support, or support engineer, or whatever it is. So that is what I realized. And you've also answered some of the things that I'll ask you, but I'll be able to ask you so that you can maybe distill it out, is some of the challenges that you face. For example, I saw Akam say you didn't have a mentor, right? And you found it that the best way to learn is to teach. And for Sema, you said that you wanted more, right? Where you were in terms of money wasn't really where you want to go to, and you had to make choices, you had to move. You had, obviously, staying in Canada for 15 years means that you had a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles that you needed to overcome, right? To get to the point where you also said, I now need to make the hard decision of coming back, and maybe also not just sticking where I was and going to the next level. So that will take me to my next question. And my next question, I'll combine two questions here. And the first question is this. For example, what were some of the key challenges that you faced when you're starting out? And maybe how did you overcome them? Because it's not enough to mention these were the challenges. You also say these are how I've overcome them. Because maybe anyone who is on this call may be facing the same challenges. They're wondering, how will I get out of these? They're maybe considering they're on the crossroads, and they're thinking, should I get into cybersecurity, or should I just do what everyone is doing, which seems to be the easier way out? Then the second question is, like, what is the most memorable experience or project that has significantly shaped your cybersecurity career? So was it a certain project? Was it a new job? Whatever it is, what was that memorable moment that made you realize that you were meant for cybersecurity? My cybersecurity was also meant for you. You and cybersecurity were tied at the hip, right? So I'll mix it up, and you'll start with Sema, then we go to Akam, right? Okay. So please, Sema, you can start out.
Yeah. So sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, like what are the challenges? Why do I think that cybersecurity has made me to be like what it was meant for me? Okay. The early part of my life as a cybersecurity analyst, I was working in governance, risks, and compliance, where you want to make sure that systems are well, that's the rules, the policies that have been put in place, the standards that have been developed, that like you come, for those coming to start, when you have a computer, especially within or your own private computer, what happens is you want to have a password. You have some folders that you want to lock down, that you've got your private information there. Or maybe you're using your computer and you don't want everybody to have administrative account to install things on your computer. So you go and create a guest account on your computer that they can access, that they have limitations on what they can do. So those processes actually that you do simple, which without taking note of it is called policies. So you're like giving some rules, setting some rules and policies to be followed. Now that applies to corporate system within a work environment where you have corporate computer systems that they come out with some set of rules and say this is how we're managing. That you want to create your password, it should be at least 12 letters long with a special character. If you want to, if you can add limitations within the corporate network and say nobody should be able to access a gambling site. Nobody should be able to access a gambling site from the computer or do otherwise. So these are just few cases which are standards. So in this case, you will create those policies. So for me, working in governance and being a teacher before, it made it so it was a perfect flow, because it's like overseeing what people are doing, helping in designing those policies, helping in doing some benchmarking with some like looking at what the expectations are, the advice from other security bodies, and then following them. So it's like reading and teaching, but being at the same time the policeman in cybersecurity. So this was it was a walk-in for me. I've never faced any difficulty, like anyway, much difficulty doing this because of my previous experience. So I have people who have been in other areas and doing different things where they integrate. So you just need to discover your own little niche where you are. So I started there before I moved to like the technical side, actually using different tools for monitoring, getting alerts, trying to resolve, working on firewalls, which you will learn in cybersecurity. Network people will say firewalls, but cybersecurity, they say SIM tools. So those are, but they are doing almost same thing, collecting information, logs, alerts, and then checking what is happening within your computer, checking what is happening to information, checking what is happening to people who are using those systems. So cybersecurity will engage in people, systems, and computing. So as you start, you see that there's an opportunity for you to either deal with people or deal with the system or deal with information, making it a plain and open field for everybody, irrespective of where you are coming from. If you have that interest, you will snatch a niche. Now, the second part of the question was the challenges. If at all, of what are the challenges that I might have encountered? The first one was trying to do cybersecurity here as a young guy with a young family. Although I came here alone before my wife came and met me here. When she came over, it's not easy to maintain a balanced life, study, work, and do what I want to do. So that was the first challenge. I wish I started this younger back in Cameroon like Akam, where he had all the time, when maybe he was still single, and then there were very little distractions. So I envy you guys being here today and starting it early, maybe you would have that length of time, because I remember sometimes when I am struggling to read and my wife will come and say, it's been some few days and all the time you spend here up to 11 p.m. midnight. What are you doing here? So I had to, I understand her needs to, I had to be able to act as a husband and do that. So those are the challenges I faced. When it comes to work environment, at work, you have to understand in life that you will meet every type of person as you move on. But if you have a focus, there will not be a time where you even remember anything absurd that is happening. You won't even think about it, because in my mind, I just, oh, I have a focus and I have where I'm going. So I don't recall any of those crazy moments at somebody or at work, because I believe in talking to people, accepting when I don't know and willing to learn, asking questions, and then making sure that I get the right resources. So hopefully I touched on, but if there are any questions, maybe when people come in with different questions, I may give out more details. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sema. You're making us look like toddlers, but I'll not touch on that. I'll take it right to Akam.
All right, thank you.
Over to you, Akam.
Yeah, if you meet any cybersecurity engineer and they tell you they haven't faced a problem, well, it's trust me, it's just like a doctor. You know, most doctors, they face challenges with patients. And for me, my own challenge was, first of all, like I said, getting a mentor. Like if I'm hooked on something and I wanted somebody to just tell me, because my focus, I'm good at seeing and doing, you know, practical, more of practical part of it. So it became a challenge. And then for me to do research at that time, it was difficult to get internet access. You know, internet access was not as available as it is now. That's one part of it. Then another part was, you know, staying focused. Now, I know most students, I've taught a lot of students, even in universities, most times it's difficult to be consistent and then staying focused on the thing, because I used to do a lot of things. I was doing business, you know, cocoa and coffee business, you know, import export. That would also take my time. At the same time, I'm focusing on what I love doing, you know. So at one point I gave up the cocoa and coffee business, and, you know, things became hard, like, you know, financially, but you know what, the resilience, I'm like, I need to know this thing because it's what I love to do. Now, the other challenge was, you know, just being focused is not enough. You have to set goals. What do I want to achieve? I had issues with time management, you know, and there it was really, really difficult for me to manage time. Yeah, you know, we kept saying that time is passing, but we have all the time we need. It's just how we manage it. So those were some of the challenges. And then another challenge was, you know, actually getting some materials for studies. It was really difficult at that time. But after, you know, getting some books, you know, going online, watching YouTubes, spending a lot of money while in Cameroon, you know how the internet is at that time in Cameroon. It was so, in fact, Africa at that time didn't have good internet access. So it was really difficult you go to the cyber cafe just to watch a video of 2 minutes, you take you like 30 minutes. So it was really, really difficult. But then how I actually overcame some of these things was I went back and started learning how to manage my time. You know, I had to set goals. All right, so like I have a diary that I started using since 2009. It's here with me. Every year I'll buy a diary. I make sure before I go to bed, I set my goals for the next day. That is how I do it. The things I don't finish, I push them forward for the next day. You know, I came up, you know, started researching other digital tools instead of using, you know, manual. And I came up with a free tool called Microsoft To Do. That also helped me a lot. And I was, you know, writing my task. And then we didn't know how to use calendars. You know, it's when I started working in corporate, I'm like, all right. So I went to one of my colleagues. I saw a calendar. I'm like, how do you do this thing? But I've been in the field for so long, and I'm like, I don't even know how to use a calendar, you know? So I started learning those little things that we thought didn't matter. At first, I thought it was just about the technical skill. Hey, go and build this firewall, go and build this network, go and do this. But it became something that I need to put together. And when I started learning those soft skills, you know, how to organize myself, and most students, they're afraid to fail. But I will tell you, failure is success. I'll bring up this story about Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb. Do you know how many times he failed before he succeeded with the light bulb? If you Google search, it's like 900 and something times before he succeeded. And that was my main drive. I'm like, if I fail, I don't give up and make sure I succeed. And if I succeed, it became permanent in me. So I used to have this saying, they say practice makes perfect. No, practice makes permanent, because if you practice a bad skill, it will be permanent in you. If you practice a good skill, it will be permanent in you, right? So that was my own way of, like, you know, getting myself together and then organizing myself. So those were the challenges that I faced, and we'll still keep on facing, because, you know, the IT, the cyber security field is challenging, because hackers, they come out with new ways to break into system. You have to stay up to date in learning. So I don't stop learning. There are times since I came to the US, I've been here for 6 years now, almost 7, and I've not been sleeping. More like, I'm like, who even sent me to the US? You know, it's so this. I'm like, yeah. If I want to download something in Cameroon, just 1 meg, it will take me a long time. But here I'm downloading 2 gigabyte, 10 gigabyte for almost a minute. I'm like, wow, this is good internet. But now, with the challenges that I face out here, I'm like, you know what? I need to keep studying, because what I studied back in the year 2000 is not what is being implemented now, right? Now, back then we just had antiviruses. Now you're looking about EDRs, XDRs. Some of those things, when they come on, you're like, but what is this technology? I mean, the way attackers now attack, you have to keep yourself up to date. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you, but I'm telling you to prepare your mind. And the surprise is that it's easy if you organize yourself and you stay focused. That is the good thing. It's easy. Now, when I knew that I wanted to do cybersecurity, was we volunteered to carry out an IT audit in Cameroon for one of the major financial institutions. And it took us some time before they finally accepted with my company back in Cameroon. And when I was carrying out this audit, I discovered a lot of loopholes. I did some pen testing. I used Kali Linux. I did a lot of pen testing. You know, I used a web suite to test their web environment, their web applications. I use Nmap. I use a lot of tools on Nmap, which you guys will be seeing, to scan the entire infrastructure. And they had a network guy who claimed to have masters in informatics. That's what they call it in French. So he was like, they don't need all this audit. They don't need a firewall. I'm like, you don't need a firewall in your system? Are you kidding me? A financial institution with no firewall device on their network. Now, you get into their buildings, cables are just flying, no structured cable. You go to their servers, it's not even up to date, no patches. I'm like, this is the thing. And I was able to break down my audit report in a layman's way so that the board of directors, who are old people, can understand. That is something too that you have to have that skill to be able to explain technology in a way that a non-technical person could actually understand. And when I told them about the firewall, they were like, what is a firewall? I just said, hey, you know what? You have a security man at the door, right? He monitors who goes in and who comes out. That is the same thing a firewall does on a network. They were like, oh, okay. I said, yes, that's just the basic. So when I started giving those concepts, and they were like, all right, it's time for implementation. So we had the opportunity, we won the contract. It was hundreds of millions to get that contract. So when we did that, I had to redesign the network infrastructure. I had a team. We did we did the redesign, implementation, and when we did another audit, there was a difference. They brought in other experts to come verify, and that is when I know that in cybersecurity you don't even need a degree, right? You don't need a degree. That's when, like most people, by then I didn't have a degree, but I had the knowledge because I had that drive to understand. And when we completed the project, we handed over. That was when I knew that, no, this is something that I love to do. So the last story I would say is when we got to US, when I got to US and my current company that I'm working for, I discovered we didn't have a monitoring system. You know, most times staff will be compromised using phishing attacks. I said to myself, what can we do to improve their security posture and have a view of the entire network so that I can actually see what is happening? So I think I was the only person that is security savvy then, and with my Linux knowledge, the only person too with Linux knowledge, I'm like, let me build something for the company. And I started doing a research on a monitoring tool and also an endpoint solution that will help protect our endpoints. So we went in for CrowdStrike, and then the monitoring tool that we're using is Zabbix. So Zabbix can also monitor cloud because we are planning to migrate to cloud. So I started going in, studying security in the cloud. And I noticed that security in the cloud is the same security everywhere, just that in the cloud infrastructure now, you just have to use another data center that doesn't belong to you, right? You're renting the space and you access it over the internet. So when I implemented that project and I was able from one dashboard see everything that is happening in my network, I'm like, not that I want to boast, but I did that single-handedly. It took me 7 months to implement, but I faced challenges. I was like, to get data from the firewall into the system, the switches, all the network equipment was something that was difficult. But when I succeeded, because it was a new tool, I was doing, learning and implementing, and finally I got it. So then I went, that was how, when I completed that project, and it was something that, when it comes to security, I'm always like, this is something I want to do. And most of my movies that I watch, trust me, is all about, I watch tech movies. And that is something that has been, when I see how those hackers, I'm like, damn, I want to be like this. When you watch the screen, things are going up and down. I'm like, which day am I ever going to be like that? I'm like, I need to. And when I discover that I can do all these things, I'm like, oh, so this is easy, right? But you kind of look at it as if it's difficult. It is only difficult when you don't practice. Like, imagine your first time learning driving. It was like you're going to die that same moment, right? But after some time, you can even drive with your one hand and even lift the steering wheel and it still goes. So I just want to encourage you all that it's a very lucrative field, and you will learn a lot from it. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Kevin, if I just jump in briefly before we go to the next point. Yeah, I just want to make it clear that, like Mr. Ekam said, it's not the degree, whether you have what that matters. What matters most is the interest. And just for clarity, that the reason why I even did a postgraduate in information security management was because it's a professional degree. What I was doing for the 2 years, it was not like writing stuff. We were dating our hands, building networks, breaking like what he did roughly. So it was like a professional degree. And he had the opportunity to do that within his cyber security, he had a platform where he was working and then playing with that. I never had that, but the only way I had to do a professional training that time. And the good thing about cybersecurity when you move on is that they don't ask you what degrees what do you have. They ask you what have you done, what can you do. That's the beauty about it. So it doesn't matter whether you had a platform. What have you done now? And then one thing I forgot about the challenges he did talk about. I didn't want to introduce you more to the technical side of things early, but you will see that as it unfolds. That's why I talk about more of people management and then some tools. But one thing I forgot that is a challenge is if you don't organize yourself with the evolving technology, things are constantly changing. New hackers are coming out with new ways to bring down system. Developers are building new system to protect. That is, it's like a war front. And as a disclaimer, I am a good hacker, okay? I just wanted to make it clear here. I'm ethical, so I don't do the dirty works. But I know all the dirty works, how it is done. But before you work in the West, you have to have a police clearance. You sign some security. There's different type of clearance you have, and then you have to sign on they call it what? You have to
NDA.
Yes.
Yeah.
An undertaking. You have to sign it that you will be ethical. You have to do the good things. But at the same time, I want to advise everybody that no matter how skillful you think that you are, you may be doing something and thinking that you're succeeding. The security system out here, it may be loose elsewhere, but in the West, they can see you, they'll nap you within 1 second. You just need, if there's a right tool, no matter what you do, they will nap you for 1 second. Sometimes you are just left because they look at how can I spend $5,000 to go and recover something that somebody has done that costs $3,000 or $4,000. So they look at economics of scale and they don't want to spend more and get this. But if it becomes repetitive, they may come for you. But they see everything. They see everything. You have to be careful. Don't be excited that, oh, they are, because I've seen with my younger ones back in, I hear a lot of stories from Cameroon, from Africa, young people just wanting to get rich quick and then they're doing good to it. My friend, be careful. All right. Thank you. Maybe just
awesome. I love the way you.
If you let me just add to what Mr. Price said. Okay, you know, okay. When I just started learning ethical hacking, I was, gaining those skills to learn how to break into systems. There was one time my instructor then gave us a list of IP addresses not to scan. Me being curious, what I did within 5 minutes, they called the school.
Yep.
That's just to tell you that there are things you don't do. Once you're a certified hacker, you belong to that community. You have things that you don't do. If something happens, they'll contact you people first and say, hey, we know that you guys are around that area. What's going on, So having these skills is like you are a law enforcement officer. They teach you how to break into stuff, but it doesn't mean that you have to go break into stuff illegally, right? So it's the same thing. So cybersecurity engineers, specialists, experts, we are like the law enforcement of the internet, okay? So we take charge ethically. So like Mr. Price said, you have to be very diligent in what you do. Now, for me, when I started teaching ethical hacking, all my students, they have to sign a non-disclosure because, trust me, you are open to tools that it can get into any network, and any network can be hackable, any. No matter how secure it is, it can only be difficult, but yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, just adding on that, there are tools that we see you may go and have, but there are still tools in the black market. There are tools used by, say, FBI, Mossad in Israel. There are tools used that are not out there. They are not commercialized. But that's why a police officer, if they get the IT security, that's FBI or even police, say in Canada, in the West, you do anything, they can sit here and they will see on their screen the map and location. They'll map you from your basement, from where you are. So there's no, I'd rather say there's no privacy on the internet. If you go there, they may just give limitations to an ordinary man to do something that, oh, you should not read my email, I cannot read your email. But if now what if somebody is persistent, like an example, just for curiosity's sake, you'll find reports that you have AP333 advanced, that is advanced persistent threat, means group of people that have come together. It's usually a state. They want to have information from a particular system, or from, if they decide that they want to get information from the United States, like what China does, what North Korea does, what China, like the military in China, they have 6,000 IT staff. Security, that's, they call them the cyber security army. That's their job. They get up every day, they get ready to office. Their job is to look whatever thing they want. I don't want to define them, but they look for whatever thing they want. So imagine going to do that. They are persistent in what they want to do, and they have all those tools. They will look at any, like I'm putting on a suit. They look at any tiny hole that exists anywhere that an ant can get in here and bite me. So they will find one no matter what you do. So, but we have to be prudent. If you come here with a mindset that, like Mr. Akam said, I want to fix the world. I want to make the world a better place. I want to learn something. I'm curious to fix things. Or some people are often pushed by what they see happening. They see systems breaking down. They see maybe a pedophile hurting kids around the world, and they say, no, I need to work to correct this. You see a lot of things. So that should be the mindset. And trust me, you will go places. Thank you. Let me hand over to, let me not hijack Mr. Kevins.
I love the way the conversation is getting natural and everything. And I'll just give Dr. Kizito this, and I only have 2 of my questions. So start preparing your own questions. We're having like a whole 30 minutes or so for you to get into and pick the minds of Mr. Akam and Mr. Pride on all that you're thinking of. So start thinking about your questions, and I'm not going to tell you post it in the chat. You're going to ask them live. So over to you, Dr. Kizito. Anything, I've seen you raise your hand.
Yes, thank you, Kevin. Wow, Pride and Akam have really given some highlights, right, about cybersecurity, and I pick out something from there. They were talking about hacking, ethical hacking. What is the difference? And about ethical hacking, we're going to learn about that in this training when we start training. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just give a brief part, then I'll leave the other part for Mr. Akam. Ethical hacking means ethics in its, like the word it itself is doing things the right way that is accepted by the society, following societal norms, laws, cultures, and all whatnot. So you abide to that rule. So when they say ethical hacking, it means that's not the whole point. That's not what cybersecurity is. Just a portion. Because if you go there, different, you can go into cybersecurity. You can be an information security management analyst. You can be a governance, risks, and compliance analyst. You can be a threat hunting analyst. So it depends on where you want to focus, where your interest is, and where you have some strength. But ethical hacking is like teaching you what the bad guys is. Like you have black, and they will often say red and blue hats, or black and white. So the black hat guys, they are the ones who wants to break into system. But you, the white hat guys, you are the one who is trying to protect that system, that those people outside don't break into it. So the ethical hacking is teaching you both ends so that you understand what can happen from outside, and if you are to do a pen testing, like you want to look at the network and try to see what would happen if anybody tries to attack this network. So you do that ethically. There are organizations that have teams that they instead attack their network. So they have both teams, they come together. You have a team that are attacking from externally, and then you have teams that are within internal network trying to protect. So ethical hacking is the teaching, the skills that you learn about all these skills, how a system is being attacked. I just wanted to choose that one, but the last part that would they teach it, and I'll leave it to my boss, Mr. Akam, to answer.
All right. So yeah, Mr. Pride has already explained everything about ethical hacking. You know, that was the first thing I asked my instructor when I went into this class. I said, what is ethical about learning how to get into a system? Well, he said hacking is hacking, but the word ethical, that just means that you have to be authorized to break into a system. And those that do it without authorization, they are illegal. So you can be prosecuted for that. You know, so that is, you know, the app. So, but in the ethical hacking training, you learn to become a hacker. Like, to catch a thief, you need to think like a thief. If not, they'll be 2 steps ahead of you before you even get to them. So I think that's just getting into the program, there are some few things that I believe that we're going to teach you guys to understand how systems are compromised, for you to better understand how to protect them. Because if you don't know how, let's say, packets leave one location to another, and how to see it using tools like Nmap or Wireshark, yeah, you will not be able to. And then we are going to do some practice on how passwords are compromised using a tool in Kali Linux called Martigo, where we can do phishing attacks. And then, you know, where at times you get emails that, hey, your Facebook account has been compromised, right? Those are just phishing emails being sent, and they will tell you if that's to verify that you are not the one. Click here to change your password. You know, when you do that, boom, they get your password. I understood how that was done properly because I knew, like, I was building websites. I know how data leaves a website to a database and back. So I was curious. So these are some of the things that you will understand, and you will see why if you use a non-secure network, you know, like most open networks on, like I tell my students or friends, family, if you want to do any transaction, do not do them in public places like the airport, restaurants, you know, wherever you go, you know, hotels. Don't use their Wi-Fi, those open Wi-Fis to do your transaction, because it is transmitted in clear text. If someone with knowledge uses a Wireshark alone, they can capture the traffic that is passing along that network, and they can read your text. You're going to see that practically happen live, so don't worry yourself. So that's when you understand that, hey, that's when you said, all right, if this thing is happening like this, then this is what we need to do. So when you understand, then you have the counter measures on how to protect them. So, but
yeah, if I may, Mr. Just to add, to help people here, I know people are curious. Hey, I should not have been traveling. I use Wi-Fi at the airport. VPN is free. You have a lot of free VPN out there. Get one on your phone. When you get to where you need to use a network that is not, you don't know how it was set up, whether it's you cannot tell if the traffic is encrypted in transit or your data, because there are a lot of guys there, they come and put free network. You come, especially in the West, you come and you're just happy. Oh, I have an internet. You don't need a password, my friend. If you use anything free, if it is free, know that you are the product. Yes.
Exactly.
So use VPN. Those VPN tools, what they do is they will encrypt your network. They will encapsulate whatever transaction that you're having over that free network, and then you'll be saying, I just wanted to bring that note so that you're not afraid. You can use it, but know what you're doing, and then run it on top of something. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is it. So I think there's a lot that you will learn. And yeah, there was one incident that I noticed, that I went for out of station work one time, and I used the hotel Wi-Fi to pay one of my bills. And 5 minutes after, I'm getting an alert that they tried to use my card in China. I'm like, what? You understand? So luckily enough, my bank has a lot of security measures too, because there is this geolocation where if I'm not the one doing my transaction on that device, it will not be authorized anywhere until I approve it. So that was something that helped me. And imagine that if I didn't set that up, money would have been, yeah, even in gas stations, like there is a device that is being inserted into gas station where it reads your card. You
Skimming machines, yeah.
Yeah, if you feed your card and it doesn't go all the way in, you have to suspect it. So these are some of the things that I do. So whenever I get to a gas station, I first of all press cancel, you know, before I even do my transaction. So
no, I hold the pocket and I shake it. I'm always very vigilant. Like I'm becoming I have a phobia when I have to use my card anywhere. So I even check on camera around me, because some guys, they put camera above you and you're inputting your PIN and in your POS. You go there and you guys see everything. So you have to, it's so complicated. You've got guys now that have gone at first. Those doing the bad things were the challenge now is those doing the bad things at first were kids who were just eager, like to go and boast in school. I was able to get into, they'll call a certain company. I logged into their network. I read their emails. They're happy and they boast, like just to show how tough you are, you know. I remember when we're in school, when there's a very beautiful lady somewhere, the day that somebody tries and then they talk to her and they'll come and boast and say, I did it. I spoke to that lady. So that is that type of mentality that was existing about cybersecurity. But now you got guys in the West, not just in the West, all over, who in Africa, maybe in Kenya, in Ghana, and Nigeria, Cameroon, Kwaku, who was here, would know, they call them Yahoo boys. I know, because when I have honeypots in my network, and I often get good people there who come to play, and I see them. So, and I'll tell them, I don't communicate. I spoke the lingua franca, the pidgin, and I said, how can you do this to your own person? And then they will just abuse me and go away, because I know what they do. So, that guy.
Yeah,
So,
right. You just made me mention one thing. There was a phishing email that came to our company here in the US, and when we use Barracuda to filter our email. So
yeah,
when I got the notification, I went in there, I saw it. Just from the language, I knew it was.
You knew where it was coming from. Yeah, I see that.
I took the email. I wrote the guy, "Oh boy, how far now?" He responded with a laugh. So I told him, "Nami, they forget to."
I had one guy from Ghana.
Yeah.
I spotted his geolocation, and he was trying to communicate to me, telling me he's in South Carolina. And I pointed to where he was. I could locate him on my screen, and I spoke now in pidgin. I wrote in pidgin and said, "I'm just like you. I say, shine your eye." That's what I wrote. I just say, "Shine your eye. Look well." Oh. Then the guy just abused. He said, "Balok," and then he just left. So, so it's funny. So to complete what I was saying, that. You had at first people who were curious, just coming out there to hit into networks to make a point that, oh, I can do this. But nowadays we got people who have gone to school, they have done everything, but they're not looking for a job. They're in their rooms, they have set up a whole lab, and what they do is trying to do the bad things, which makes it very challenging that every system where you have information, you have money, like data, which is like honey within any corporation. It's like any data within the corporation is the most juicy part of it, because you can black market, they sell it, they do this and that. Now, if all of these things, they need to be protected. So and it poses a challenge that you have to be focused, know what you're doing, know all the controls that needs to be put in place. Sometimes you are not the one to put a control, but know how to give directives and know the possible bad things, scenarios that can happen if you have this information on this table. You know that if it's here, these are the various things. So I'm happy that you guys are coming to attend a program as such, like this, where you have that insight. This is there are tons and millions of jobs around the world. Little or nothing is being done in Africa. I know that a lot of people are doing anything, but people are not crying about outages, hackings, because I'm sure those smart guys think that there's nothing there that they can get back from there. But there will come a time. But if you are coming at a time where Africa, a lot of things are changing, and it's not going to be long. A lot of opportunities are going to be there. Even why not here in the West, where at any given moment in the United States, there are more than 1 million vacancies for IT security. Yeah, at any given moment, there are more than 1 million IT security vacancies. So you can imagine if you go through this, build that interest, and start something, trust me, you will be employed. Yeah.
Awesome. I love the way you're taking this conversation and just taking it into the real perspective, into where it really matters. And seeing Dr. Kizito is about to come in on this, and I'd like you to just also, as you answer Dr. Kizito's question, also connect it with these questions so that we get it to the open. Then I'm going to have the closing question that I'll give as we end the session. So my question is, how do you see the future of cybersecurity evolving? We are now having AI, we're having all these things about data protection regulations and GDPR and all these kind of different countries coming up with ways of regulating AI and all these things around IoT. What are the different opportunities that you're now seeing for our learners who are going to be taking this program? What are the different opportunities? You know, the opportunities of cybersecurity in 2000 are not the same opportunities in cybersecurity in the year 2024 onwards, right? They are constantly evolving, as you've mentioned. So what are those future roles? And then I'll bring it to Dr. Kizito to ask his question. Then you will combine those two questions and answer it. Then we open it up to the participants here on the call. So, Dr. Kizito?
Hey, Kevin, thank you. That's the question I wanted to ask you, just ask it. The future of cybersecurity, especially now with AI. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay. Can I go first?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I will tell you there is a lot of opportunities. That is the good thing, I would say, with cybersecurity, because with the coming of AI, machine learning, data science, data analytics, and all of that, more and more people are moving into technology, because there are still some companies that they are still, they're still using the kind of old ways of doing stuff. We call it the traditional IT. And moving into the cloud, doing AI and stuff like that, it creates new ways, new potholes for attackers to come in. Now, remember the threat vector. Let me not use the term, like the things that used to be hacked were just computers and all of that. When phones came in, we could access our phone to browse. Now phones can be hacked. Now you have your refrigerators in the house that can be monitored. That is Internet of Things, right? All those things, your cars and all of that, all these things are just giving more and more things for attackers to attack. So the more we get online, the more vulnerable we are going to be, and the more they're going to need cybersecurity specialists to defend that network. So I will tell you that the future for cybersecurity is very, 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 very bright, as with the coming again of AI. Because I know a lot of people think that AI will come and take your job, but AI will never take the job of a cybersecurity professional, because they will not think like us, and they will not carry out the actions immediately. Trust me. Yeah, we have EDRs, XDRs, they do some of those things, but there are some decisions that have to be made by humans that AI cannot replace. So it's inevitable. So those are things that you cannot replace with AI. Because AI, with the coming, a lot of people were afraid that, since they are automating everything, AI is taking all the jobs and so on. But there are particular fields, and cybersecurity is one of them, that more demand as time passes. Trust me, within the next 10 years, they will need more cybersecurity engineers. And I mentioned in one of my talks that is where a cybersecurity specialist, engineers, expert, you have to keep learning. Right now, I'm taking a class in AI. And yeah, so I'm taking a class in AI. I want to understand how all of this is done. And my goal is how to secure an AI infrastructure. That's it, right? How to securely, design those kind of infrastructure. That is my goal. Doing it doesn't mean that I want to work as an AI person, but I'm curious to understand how it works, so that on the security part of it, I will be able to, implement secure designs, monitor and all of that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Akam. Just to add on that, I want to, Mr. Kizito, do you know that although we look at AI to be like a source of information where it's helping people to do your work, you find information. Do you know that as of today, there are other bad guys that are writing the same thing that they were doing, attacking networks and dumping them? That's hacker notes into AI environment. So there are already some attacks where some hospitals went without taking a lot of precaution. I work in a hospital setting. I'll come to that and share my experience with you people. Where some hospitals, the doctors were like eager, they want to find out how can I treat this patient suffering from this, what can I do? Now, some bad guys went and wrote a note and infused some wrong information into big data. Now, when AI, they are running, and because what AI does is they try to consolidate information from different data sources and pull out, especially with the coming of generative AI. Generative AI is the part of AI that you actually communicate. It communicates with you like a human being. A simple one will be in Edge, where you can actually, there's a free way to use AI even on your phone. You do anything, you find out anything that you want. So they now put in the wrong information. Now, what was the bad side of it? People, when and incorporated the AI into the system, had not put in the safeguards. What data element can it pull? Will it pull data just within our own bank of full of information, or is it pulling information from the web, or is it pulling? How does it interact? So they call them data sets, which has to be defined, and those boundaries. So this still needs security experts. Just with the coming of, I just don't need it. So AI guardrails. Thank you. Yeah. So these things needs to be put together. Now AI has come in and created another area where they may need more cybersecurity people. Combined with the on-prem, combined with the different technologies which are coming every day, startups are coming every day, and on these new systems, there are zero-day vulnerabilities. There are vulnerabilities that are coming in, just cropping out. Now, how shall we protect this? So, like Mr. Akam said, there's going to be more and more jobs. If you look in the job market and just search the word security engineer or cyber security engineer, and look at the rate of the job popping up now as compared to years back, it's increased. If you just go to Google and just find out security analysts or what shortages or percentages of vacancies, you will see that there's an increase, irrespective of the changes or coming of AI or changes in technology that's happening. So I don't think it's going to be, there's no fear about that. even when systems like they automate jobs, they need humans to verify. When they write codes, even you can write like a code, you tell it to program something in Python or in Java, you still need to go sometimes pick out that code and then edit them, run to see whether it's doing what you asked it to do. Because if you ask the wrong question, you will have the wrong answer. It doesn't mean that the computer is wrong, but it just means that garbage in, garbage out. If you put the right information that AI should give you, it will give you the right information. If you don't coin it well, it will give you what you have not coined well. So you will end up blaming that, oh, this thing is bad, it's not working the way I want, but it's dependent on what you gave, the instructions you gave, or that it's limited in that area and has not got enough information to give you. So thank you.
All right, Mr. Bright. And just to add again, like he said about AI, yeah, it's garbage in, garbage out. There are skill sets. Before I was using Chat GPT, I had to learn what is called prompt engineering. And prompt engineering is how to write what you want the chat, that's the AI to search and give you the right answers. Even in Google search, there are a lot of people that don't know how to search on Google. Trust me. There are things that I remove on Google because if like one of the skills that I learned was, Google hacking techniques, how to search on Google to get just what I want. Because you might open different websites. Those websites, they will give you fake information. Yeah, but I just need a particular thing, and that was how when I learned prompt engineering. It's something we are going to teach you guys. So how to use ChatGPT the right way, and how, because ChatGPT will also tell you, hey, you have to modify these things to fit your environment, right? So it's not like it is giving you to fit your environment. So you have to also customize it. So it might give you clues, all right? Then I was just reading on the Cybercrime magazine. Now, cybersecurity job reports, it says there will be 3.5 on-field positions by 2025. I'm posting the link now in the chat so that you guys can see for cybersecurity. And one other thing I wanted to make is that not like a lot of people are not getting into cybersecurity. Trust me. That's why they are looking for skills. Not just, like they are looking for people with skills. What can you do? What have you done? So with the project-based approach that you'll be getting your training, is going to help you a lot to master the skill set, right? You have the opportunity to set up your own lab environment and you attack the victim, a section of it, and then see how it works, right? And by you doing it, you will understand some of these things. And one of the ways to also keep yourself up to date is to follow the news. I have a list of cybersecurity sites that I've been following. My routine, when I get to the office, sit at my desk, the first thing I spend like 25 minutes just to read news. And by the time I go through everything, I digest it, I'm like, all right, what is next? I look on my calendar. The next thing, I'm checking my emails, responding to emails. Then after my emails, then I check if I have any alerts that needs me to take care of as soon as possible. I do that. And then after that, I go to my ticketing system to see what has been assigned to me, what has been escalated to me to catch up with and so on. So these are things that you'll be facing. So the training you'll be getting is not certification, like Kelvin said. You are learning how to do the job, right? Because certification just teach you about the product, right? But it's just like when you leave school, the job is a whole new ball game, So what you learn from school is different. That's why most jobs will say they want experience, right? But if you are coming in as a new person and you want to prove to the employer that you can do stuff, you can show them your home projects, even your own projects that you have done. And there are ways that you also learn, like to create a GitHub profile, LinkedIn profile, you post things on LinkedIn about cybersecurity that will boost your portfolio on GitHub. You do projects and present it there so that you make it public, on the repositories where people can see what you've been able to do. So these are some of the things that you will actually, be learning. If you do not already know, you will be learning. And most importantly, Mr. Kevin, there are certain things that I find engineers having difficulties at: communication, how to communicate. That is a soft skill that you will learn here too. There will be time that we will teach you how to communicate as a team, because a lot of people, when you tell them to express themselves, it's difficult. Trust me. So that part is going to be taken care of. I know there are experts that will, come in to tell you on how to communicate, especially in a team setting, and not to be afraid. Because trust me, I was not a public speaker. I was so shy to speak, but today I can speak in front of thousands, millions without any fear. I didn't know I could do it, right? And in order for me to be able to reach where I am today, I had to. There was no way. I had to learn how to communicate. And it doesn't matter your background, There are some people say, but I don't know how to speak English very well and so on. Or maybe how are Chinese doing it? How are Indians doing it? And then before I even end my talk, I just want to encourage you guys. The world has made it to feel like we Africans don't know anything. But let me tell you, we are brilliant. When I attended class in India, that's when I knew that we are brilliant. I will compete with Indians and I'll come out first in my class. I'm proud to say that. Yeah. Like, I have friends, the Indian friends, they'll come to me and say, hey man, I am having issues with this. How can I do it? So these are some of the things that you have to have faith in yourself. Be confident. Build that. First of all, you have to build that confidence. Self-confidence is what is going to take you to places. And like I said, Africa is still, I call it a virgin land. Technology is still getting in there. And by the time you know it, you might be the top guns of when it comes to cybersecurity in Africa, right? All over the world. And I plan to retire in Africa, not here in the US. So yeah, so that's the thing, because I know Africa still have a lot of Jews that we need to, because who is going to develop Africa? It's people like you and I. When we learn these things, we have to implement in our own areas, right? So, and Kevin, I plan to visit Kenya too. So hopefully, if I come, we'll meet. So, and yeah, I would like to travel around Africa, meet a lot of you guys, and we discuss, talk, and hopefully we can, with Solavisetech paneling with my own company, we can have conferences where people can come in physically to actually, meet and network. And yeah, coming to networking is a very important part of it to grow in your career. Yeah.
Yeah. So just a quick one before I will add that, yeah, like Akam said, you have to build some self-confidence and believe in yourself. We are fighting very hard here. I believe that anyway, let me not go in that direction. But if you only sell yourself based on what you do and what you say. So you have to struggle out here to prove your worth on what you do. And this pathway of not just coming to say, I have a degree in this, or I've studied this, or saying that actually this is what I can do, like actually saying this is what I can do is the most important one. So build that self-confidence, and if you go out there, try to say what you can say with a lot of courage, with a lot of knowledge in you, and prove out there that I can do this. That's how we survive here. If you're timid, or you don't want to talk, or you don't want to, the assumption here in the West is that you don't know. And then they may grab people who don't know anything. You like working in a team, you realize that there are several things you're directing, or although you must have that team spirit, yes, but you realize that you champion a lot of issues to get it sorted, but you're working with people whom you were looking up to and feeling that, oh, these are my these are my seniors, they ought to know more than you, but that's not often the case. So why here, pick up and then learn a lot, and then start it among yourself, have that conversation, trying to, because one of the things that have made me work with different sectors is understanding what is on this, like on this keyboard, and then explaining it to senior management. Most of the senior management, they don't understand all the things that you will learn about ethical hacking or whatsoever, but they want to know what's going on. They need to fund your projects. They need to support you, but you have to listen technically as a cybersecurity analyst, and then forget transcribe that technical aspect into a common language to talk to other people, so that and then that's how it works. If not, you have there may be issues. So I'll pass it over to Kevin. Maybe he has some more directives.
Yeah, I can see Lawrence had raised his hand, and I'm sure people are really, they're really like aching to take this opportunity that I'm having to just interact with both of you. So I'll now take it back to Dr. Samba, and he's going to run the Q&A session right now and ask you that one final question before we close the session. But I've really gained a lot from this. I can tell you my notepad is full of insights that I don't know how I'm going. I thought I would do a LinkedIn post, but I think I'll have to do a Medium article for all of this, because it's quite a lot that you really offered to all these budding professionals. So over to you, Dr. Samba, then you'll usher in the rest of the members for that Q&A. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Kevin. Please, can we put our hands together for these amazing speakers? For the past 1 hour, 30 minutes, they've done a marvelous job, right? So let me ask this question. If you guys were to pay for the value you've received so far, how much would that cost? Drop in the chat. If you were to pay for the value you've received so far, how much would that cost? This gentleman, we do our hearts to you and want to say thank you very much. This is just the beginning. And just to reiterate on something Sakam said, yes, Solavisetech is partnering with his company, and the goal of that partnership is we want to bring opportunities to our people. We don't only want to train, but we want to connect them to opportunities. There are a lot of jobs out there, and we will be doing everything possible to see that we are able to give our people real hands-on experience and expose them. And we're grateful equally with the pride on the team. Is just amazing. We're always going to have these experts that would take you all along the journey. All right, and I will tell everybody it's a journey. There is no final end to it, right? We're going to be along the journey all through. So let's take the questions from Steve now. Let's take, Lawrence was up first. Let's have Lawrence. Lawrence, yes, please.
Yeah, my question to the panelists is the future of cybersecurity. There's also aspect that we are all collecting data. So what is also on the other note, what can you talk about data protection law in regards to cybersecurity?
If I understood your question very well, it's like you want to know more about, or what information can we share about data protection as when it comes to cybersecurity? Is that what you're asking?
My aspect is that we are teaching or you want to learn data cybersecurity, but there's other aspect that there's data protection. So many of us do share a lot into the internet, but we have got no knowledge of the impact of what data you're sharing, what data we need to share outside there, and what are laws in regards to what we share.
Okay. Yeah, Lawrence. Yeah, I think I'll try answering the question, and if I miss anything, maybe you can still clarify, or maybe Mr. Akam got it differently. So there are a lot of laws when it comes to governing data and information. First of all, I want to draw this line. You have personal identifiable information, which will be like your name, date of birth, your address or location, And then you may have another, it depends on the type of data. You may have financial data hosted by banks, which may have your bank account, how much you have there. You may have a healthcare data. I work in a healthcare institution where we are dealing with, here in the West, is considered confidential information. Even like back, I know most other countries considering that you cannot share your health data. You don't want to go to a hospital and carry out a test, and then by the time you're back home or in the streets in the town, everybody knows that you were HIV positive, or you were this, or you have high blood, or you have cancer. People will not feel comfortable. So taking that into consideration, that there are different types of data, people, depending on the organization or where that data is useful, people place different laws on this information. So if it's managing health information, in the United States, you have the HIPAA. HIPAA stands for, anyway, let me not go into those details, but HIPAA is just a rule, an act, a law that the government within the United States, they have given that if you are working within the healthcare sector, this is how you manage people's health information, health data. If you are working within, if you are transmitting electronic information, say within Canada, anything you want to send an email back and forth, there are some rules which you must respect. They call it HIPAA, which HIPA. Now, you have other rules like within the European Union. They call it GDPR. GDPR is a rule that the European Union, they've come together and say, if you're handling data of any European outside of Europe, these are the rules that you need to follow. So you can, if you're in Africa, for example, and you want to be working or you have business with a company in Europe, then they have specific rules that they have stated that you need to, if you're taking information and storing or collecting information of Europeans while in Kenya or in Ghana, they have specific instructions that they want you to follow. Some of those are how you handle them. Some of those are the technical aspect, how you should configure systems to store this information. So they will tell you that if you want to transmit data between Kenya and Europe per se, it must be encrypted. So they will give you the standard and say it should be maybe 256 bytes encryption. It should be AES. You learn about this when you are doing more details about the security aspect. What I'm saying, don't care about it. But the detail is that they'll tell you certain standards that you have to uphold in order to be able to do that business. So data security, data in itself is the jewel of any organization, because you often hear America and China fighting. They say America accusing China of having stolen data. They call it trade secrets. Or China, like I will tell us here, China is developed today because they were smart. They were smart in the sense that I remember when I went to England, don't ask me when. No, that was 2007. And there were some programs, even it happens here in Canada. There were some programs where like you have like chemical engineering, you have like where they stopped certain nationalities from accessing those programs in the university. It was like a national law. Nobody from this country can study this program. So why? A lot of technologies were stolen. And that's why China was smart. They sent out in the 90s, early 90s, 80s, a lot of people and gave them scholarship. They studied around the world, brought back all those technologies back to China, and then they put in money and developed those systems. Some of those trade secrets were actually stolen, yes. Some, they were like, a lot of things has happened. I don't want to get myself involved in those stories. But you've heard what I've said, that data is very vital. So each organization, they are fighting to protect it, and they have rules around it. Each company that you may work for, they will tell you, you cannot do this with this information. They don't even provide access to you. So you have certain principles as a cybersecurity analyst, the least privileged principle, which you will learn, which means you can only have access to the data that you need to do your work. So that you don't, if it's because of their interaction, if there's any compromise, that company should not lose the information. Now, on a personal note, on your own information sharing, it depends on you. What the first thing is, if there's a compromise in your personal data, what chaos can it create to you? If there's an information out there, say from the president of Ghana or Kenya, that he is sick or he has this type of ailment, will people vote for him during the elections? The answer is no. So personally, from the interest, from the advantages and disadvantages that may occur, you would choose, depending on the type of data, what type of control you can put in place. So that is where, I don't know if I answer, whether I gained some knowledge in what you brought up. Maybe if somebody has something to add, or maybe I can or pass. Thank you.
Oh, well, I think, yeah, you said most part of it. And also coming to, if I also understand Lawrence, he was like, I will talk on the part of what you post online. Like, just abusing somebody to online nowadays can be considered very offensive, and you can be sued for that, right? So and then what you post, like I said, the internet is public. So what you post, even if you delete it, it's still safe somewhere. So you have to be careful what you share online. You have to be careful what you say. Now, there are things you might be involved in an utterances with someone online, and let's say you want to look for a job and they do a background check, they would look at that and say, no, this person is an abuser online, and they may not hire you based on that. So you have to also be very careful with some things like that. All right. So yeah, so posting, like I always tell people, nowadays a lot of people say, oh, I have to post my life and everything. Just your picture that you post, from that picture, I can tell your exact location. That is how assassins have been able to track down people and kill them. No, you're going on vacation, you're posting, they know when to come break your house, right? So all of these things, you will not see me do that. I used to do that at first, but that was when I didn't understand the implications of some of these things. Even my family, I don't post them online anymore, because there are things that you will not know about me, especially those of us in cybersecurity. When you get the knowledge, you get to understand that, hey, this thing I see, it's a trend, it's a kind of lifestyle, but that is not, it has its own downside. If you are a business person, yeah, you can post your business stuff, but avoid posting personal stuff that might lead, threat actors, they're everywhere. It might still be a close person to you that will just monitor your movement on social media and know when you're in and when you're not in, right? So you have to be careful with some of the things you post online that might expose you. Now, a lot of people that have tried to impersonate me online by using my pictures to contact my family people. And I regretted ever posting some of those kind of pictures. It happens. So you have to be careful.
That's why I don't have mine. You can only accept you take a picture of me now, or with my publications. Yeah. I don't have any picture online on social media.
Yeah. Then check again. There is this hack that was going on WhatsApp where people call you, say, hey, join a Zoom meeting. And if you don't protect your WhatsApp with the multi-factor authentication, it will be hard contacting your family. They've called me several times. I just tell them, man, you better look for something to do, So I spent a lot of time last year educating people on how to protect their social media accounts. And you see, Facebooks are being hacked, Instagram's accounts are being hacked, WhatsApp are being hacked. And it's just a little configuration that you have to change on your settings to make it more secure, right?
Yeah. So if I may add, there are people who have lost jobs depending on the type of social media Facebook posting they have.
Yep.
There are some employers, when they're hiring you, some they actually ask, especially in government within the United States, They
Mhm.
ask for your social media handles. They ask of they run some of those audits without you knowing. Anywhere your name is mentioned online, they will see it. They will pull that data up and they will see it. So if you're posting in bars, drunk or rolling on the floor, my friend, you will lose a job. You may lose an opportunity. So be mindful of what you post online and where you post. If you're always in bars, depending on the type of job, or they find you're always in a place where there's squirrel and all, like most working environment, they like serene environment. So be mindful of what you post online. Then the second aspect is they have been target hacking, where you find nudes of certain people being posted online. There are so many cheap tools out there that somebody can send you just a text message and say, click on this, a text. Meanwhile, they have embedded a link and say, oh, click on this link, and they just create a message that is faulty and tell you and embed a link there that you should click. You go and click on the link and open, and they have control over your phone. Now, if you're fond of having nude pictures on your phone, or you've asked somebody to send it to you, they grab it, and very soon you find it there in the web. And you're wondering, there are so many people who have embarrassed themselves with through that, but it's through ignorance. What is my advice? Don't, no matter how intimate or lovely it is, avoid storing certain type of, or if you do that, put that in a vault and have a password, because when you have a pin over it, it will encrypt it. So if somebody grab it, it will be useless until they know the pin. So certain type of explicit things that you will not be happy if all of us see it now, keep it secure. Don't do that. Advise people to stop doing that, because this has even caused some young girls or even people to commit suicide, because when they end up finding what is out there, it's not fun. So we should try to educate people not to do that. And then the last aspect about your personal data I was trying to convey is, don't be too curious online. Like you see an image, you want to click all images and see. There are hacking mechanism where they hide things under an image. It is in the file. Once you click on that thing, the image is trying to download, and then so that open up for you to see what is in the picture that they have sent to you. It downloads a packet into your system, and furthermore giving an access window to any bad guy who had an ill intent. So just your own data is just, yeah, stenography. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, I didn't want to go in with the term, but just coming with a layman's term, so that you understand all of these things about your own personal data, how to handle them. So share or feel free to keep data. If you want to keep your personal data that you don't want people to, encrypt it. Words, window words. If it's document, you can put a password. If you can put a password on any document you share, that it would encrypt it, although it has its own level of security. But at least that is something. Although some people can still crack it and open, but they will need some effort. Then avoid putting passwords that are common. You will learn all this. I'm sure Mr. Kevin is going to give you all these passwords that maybe it's a dictionary word, or somebody can find it somewhere, because they will come and run. I just need to come and pass by you and run a certain test on the system, or run a test, and I will get the password. So choose words that you created yourself, or maybe not are not in the dictionary. So I think that should be just a brief of what I can share with you for now. Thank you.
Great question from our speaker there. Amazing, amazing. All right, thank you for the feedback. We equally have Steve. Steve, you have the mic. Steve, we can't hear you in case you're speaking. We can't hear you now. You've rather muted. Maybe your headset. You need to adjust your headset or something.
No. Okay. Just talk a little bit louder. You're coming very faint.
Right. Okay, we lost Steve. So maybe let's have Elias while Steve tries to reconnect.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Steve. Let's have Elias. Then you come in.
Okay, so first of all, thank you everybody, because this was an experience. I've learned a lot of things I didn't know about cybersecurity, even though I was interested about it. My question is, what do you advise someone, for example, I am starting as a cloud practitioner currently, and I have like a passion for cybersecurity because in Ethiopia, like it's non-existent. Mostly, like the biggest trouble you'll have is like banks would be shutting off their systems because they have trouble with their network, or they have been hacked, or there is a ransomware. And what do you advise a guy who is already working on the cloud to do or to study on so that he can be proficient in cybersecurity? Thank you.
All
Okay.
right.
You want
Let
to go,
me
Mr.
go,
Kam? You want me to?
just have answer that question. So you say you are in the cloud and you're already like a practitioner in the cloud, correct?
Yes, like I'm not that deep. I'm a beginner. I learned about you guys from Kevin. Like I follow him online and stuff.
So okay, so yeah, I understand you. So my advice to you will be like, I will tell you to set goals of what you want to achieve, and don't be afraid to ask questions while you're studying. And because most times students tend to fear, they shy away from asking questions, thinking that it's a dumb question. But I'll tell you there is no question that is dumb. Okay, because we are here to help uncover maybe your doubt, and it is only when you ask those questions, then we can try to understand where you're coming from, and then we can assist you on that. So don't be scared to ask questions. Set yourself goals, smart goals that you can achieve. Maybe like you can set your goal for a month. You can break it down for, let's say, 6 months, a year, 5 months. The 5 years. 1 year, 5 years. Set those goals because that will be your driving force, and then keep yourself accountable. Ask yourself, am I really achieving what I set to do? Keeping yourself accountable will really, really help you grow in the career. And if you love cloud that much and you want to focus on cybersecurity, there is cybersecurity that is focused on the cloud. So, but you still need to learn the foundations, and then you can now specialize maybe only on cloud, right? So there are opportunities for cybersecurity anyway.
So yeah, thank you, Mr. Kam. I just wanted to say, when you do what you want to do, if you engage and learn this, and then you then specialize and say, I want to do threat hunting in the cloud. I want to be in charge of incident response. When things happen, I will fix them. So you can then deviate and go into several different, I'm sure in the course of the program, you would be open to that. Mr. Kevin will open you to those different tenets, those opportunities. So, but what matters most now is getting the foundations, getting to know that this, because you're able to relate. Say back in Africa, back in Ethiopia, there are a lot of people who still have their physical servers running somewhere within their companies, within their houses. Now, if somebody wants to go to the cloud and they have that server running there, if they meet you and say, I want to migrate to the cloud, this is my data. So you need to know how to secure that data from that premise You need to know how to securely move that data into the cloud where they want to go. So just imagine if you learn only about cloud and then you didn't know about how to take care of the on-premise, those physical servers. So it's a good foundation to know cybersecurity in its entirety, and then you can specialize in whatever area, like Mr. Akam pointed. Thank you.
All right. So just to thank you for the responses. Just to indicate on that. Okay, great. So just to throw more light on that, I see Kevin already dropped a message in the chat. So let me share my screen to show you guys this. So we have this coming up. It starts on Monday. We want you guys to make a well-informed decision before you get into the industry, so they don't get in out of just excitement. It's true that a lot has been said today, and there's some excitement. You may feel like, oh, maybe I should do this thing, but the question is, do you really want to do it? Because what we are looking at Solavisetech is not just to have a crowd of people that want to come, take on cybersecurity training, and they're excited that, oh, I've gone through, 12 weeks training. But the question is, are you the right person? You may take a look at this, and at the end of the day, what you say, I don't think this is a career path I should pursue, and it's going to be worth it for you not to take on the career path. So what are we going to be doing for the next 5 days, starting on Monday? You're going to be exposed to 5 days of a free webinar, right? Where day 1, you're going to cover cybersecurity fundamentals. All right. Day 2, you're going to have an introduction to data protection, asset security, and compliance. Day 3, network security, identity and access management. Day 4, offensive and defensive security. And day 5, risk management, disaster recovery and planning, and privacy. You're going to have high level of this starting from 8 to 9:30 p.m. West African time. We're going to share this flyer, so you can schedule your calendar to be able to attend this. And we encourage you all who really want to pursue this career to attend these sessions and attend them objectively. Ask all the questions you can ask. Each of these topics will be taught deep dive again in the session in the bootcamp itself, which starts in April. So we're going to give you more detail about that as soon as the program begins. But we don't just want to let you go straight into the book. We want you to actually look at this and say, is this something that is worth engaging? Because on our own side, on the side of Solavisetech, we are really prepared to deliver value. We are really prepared to take you through the journey. Right. So now, if this is something you really want to do, the webinar WhatsApp group, right? Okay, so you can join that. I think, oh, Kevin already shared. Yes, fine. So you can already join the group. Just click on the link. You're going to join the group, and right in there, we're going to share the meeting link. It's 1 hour 30 minutes for the next 5 days, starting on Monday, so you can schedule your calendar for that. All right. So I hope that answers your question as well, Elias. So you'll be able to get more insight on how you can be able to combine cloud and cybersecurity to have a better career path. Thank you. All right. Do you have another question, or we can take Steve right now? Elias, are you done? Or if you're done, we
Yes,
can now.
thank you. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So let's have Steve. Hi, Steve.
We still can't hear you, Steve. I think maybe I don't know whether you can join on mobile, then we can easily listen to you. I don't know. Yeah, we can try that and see.
Maybe he can also type it in the message.
Or maybe you can try to type it because we can't hear you. Yes.
Okay. Steve, we can't. Okay, maybe Steve will just drop in the chat. All right. So while Steve is typing, I would have this question for our amazing guest speakers. And the question is this. So what advice would you give, or would you offer these our young enthusiasts who are looking forward to engaging in this training? Right. So as they're about to embark on it, what advice would you, let's say, if you were to start on this program, still as a very young person, what advice would you give yourself? And that advice that you're trying to translate it to this audience, what would that be?
Mr. Akam, can you go first?
All right. So, when I started, I didn't have direction. And right now, you guys have direction. You have people that are willing to not only teach you, to mentor you. So, my advice would be to, like I always say, you have to be dedicated. If you are dedicated, then you will learn the skills that you need to excel in this field. And also, I know due to nature, there might be things that might hinder you in one thing or the other. You have to plan yourself, have a goal, set your goals straight. Like, if you need help in that, you can always reach out and we can help give you a plan that you can use to set your goals. And also, studying this field requires a lot of concentration. You need to eat healthy. Trust me, most times there's some food stuff that when you eat, it makes you dizzy, it makes you tired, and then you have to start exercising. Exercise makes your brain, because, while in school, some people think that others were dull, some were slow learners, and so on. It was just because some of the instructors didn't understand how to make them become better, right? So what I would say is exercise alone helps make your brain to think fast and to store a lot of energy. And then there are things that I do every morning. When I get up every morning, I do not touch my phone. I have 10 minutes of my focus time where I just close, like I meditate. And it helps calm, makes my brain release any bad energy, anything. These are some of the things that I do. I just sit for 10 minutes and, it helps me a lot to, calm down. And then I drink a lot of water. That's the thing. So these are just outside from, that's outside from what I was saying. But these are things that are helping me stay focused. All right. So because I know there will be times you have a lot of procrastination, right? I want to do this, but when it's time, it's like, oh, let me just give it like 2 minutes again, or let me give 5 minutes, right? These things will come. I still face some of those things, but the way I overcome them is, setting out a routine and make sure I follow them, and then keep myself accountable. That's it for me.
Okay. One thing I would just add is this is something that needs a lot of common sense. With common sense, that's why you've got 17 years old, they're able to break into big systems where you've got all sort of people with certificates and all what. Some will be doctors, some will be, but they're managing systems. But 17 high school guys, they break into it. Why? It's common sense and persistence. So what I would say is, cybersecurity is you study something. It's like you're bringing in coffee, you pour into a machine, it grinds it and gives you powder. So that is not a good analogy. Sorry. You would learn something. You will learn all the studies. They will tell you these are the technologies, and this is what it does. But when you are faced with cybersecurity incident, you don't have the technology there with you. You have a scenario where you would take what you've studied at the back of your head. It's there. You know that this principle tells me not to do this, but I have this scenario here in front of me. Now you use common sense and then you resolve it. But you never tell anybody. This is not like a field where you study something and you have to go and be explaining to somebody and explaining theories to somebody. No, that hidden information is within you. So when you're studying, it's building your mindset, telling you scenario things that happen. Technology is what they are used for. Now, what you face now trying to resolve are practical things, which now you take the knowledge you've learned and you employ. So that's why it needs attention. The principles that you have to study, you just master it as, oh, this is what it is. This is what it takes care of. And then you dump it in their subconscious. When you meet situations, you go to your library, pull that out, and then you say, oh, okay, I want to get this working. And I have the idea this could be the problem, this could be the problem, and then you can resolve it. So go open-handedly, be eager to read as much as you can to understand what those use case scenarios, some scenarios have been. I personally, I subscribe to a lot of news, that's cybersecurity news. So every morning, like last week when Facebook was down, I learned about it just about 2 minutes when it went down, that Facebook is not, yeah. So I received those updates, those alerts. You can subscribe to them. Those sites are there. In the course of time, I'm sure Mr. Kevin will share a lot with you people, how you can get those updates. You will know them, how things are happening, where it's happening. And even the other day, I slept late because I was fighting to secure my network at home. I've got a camera, security camera around my house. It was the camera is made in Zhangzhou in China, and there was a vulnerability and they were actively exploiting. So I set up my alert system and my network was hit with a connection from China. So I had to get up and try to update, like patch my tools that I'm using, and then the software as well, and got that remediated. So these are the things, physical things. Even those who have antivirus on their devices, you can actually go on your antivirus or any tool that you're having. Be curious. Open that tool, go to the settings, look at what it does. Go to the firewall. Don't change anything if you don't know. But it's good to break and fix because you will learn a lot. But ask questions. Why do they have these configurations? Why do they have this? You will learn a lot. And the last thing I want to share is Mr. Akam talk of mindset. What I've learned of late is the day that I meditate, like I'm going to sleep, I have some my direction of meditation when I want to sleep. So the night that I focus on that direction and I go to bed, I end up not having any nightmare and I have a good sleep. So if you focus, the last thing is about something that you looked on Facebook and then drop your phone before you lay down, that's what the masquerades will come to you when you're sleeping or whatever you looked at it last. So if you garner your mind towards, oh, I want to study this and I want to achieve this, trust me, the first success is just thinking that positive direction, that's where you want to go. So good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the brilliant response, Bright. We really appreciate you. So there's a question in the chat from Steve. So Steve's question is, now, with regards to social networks, especially on LinkedIn, and it requires a lot of helping one, to achieve their goals and seeking employment, as well as you trying to grow your audience, and so on. So as a cybersecurity professional, is sharing data on LinkedIn a challenge?
It depends on what my take on any information on a public platform as such is that if you come to learn what they call identity access management, and when you create an account, it's like they have given you a box of your own, and you go and put in your information there. What you decide to share out is what you want the public to see. There are certain platforms where you have things that permit you to configure and say nobody should have access to. It should only be you. Yes, it means that one, whatever data that is there will be for you. But if you go and you post anything in LinkedIn per se, which is meant that you hit that button post, or in Facebook post, it means that you want those you have given permission to. Some of those posts, if you go to your configuration very well, your security and privacy configuration, you will see that you configure your posting settings. If you want just your friend to see, or you want just or you want your friend and your friend's friend to see, or you want the public to see. So you make those options based on what you want. So if you put it and say public, therefore you don't have any guardrails. You've said anybody could search for it and find you. I'm in Facebook, but I challenge you, go take my name and search whether you see me in Facebook. So you decide on what you want to do. So whatever that you put in LinkedIn, whatever you put in LinkedIn, it's what. Sorry, my son. Doubly, I'll come to you soon. I'll be done soon. Okay. Yeah, please. Sorry about that. So whatever information that you put there in LinkedIn, if you have a compromising information there, know that it could be used against you in the future. If you delete it and there happen to be any investigation, my friend Mozart, they will pull it out. FBI, they will pull it out, even although you deleted them. That's why when they come for, when there's a raid or anything, they come and take your electronic devices. You think that they are joking with it? They know that you deleted emails, you did everything, but they get those devices. What do you think? Because they'll go and reverse engineer it and get everything. The zeros and one that you try to, if you don't, there are certain tools you can use that work, but they have other higher grade that will reverse run backward in time and bring out all what was deleted. So anything that you feel that is compromising to you, don't share it publicly. That's what I would say, Mr. Stephen. Anything that put out what you can defend within the next 20 years to come, put it out there. There are some people who have suffered. Like one guy, I would quote, it was a public case here in the States. He was a member of the House. But so many years ago, he had gone on his resume and put where that he was a Jew. He put that he studied in one school, which was a lie. So he added a lot of information. But when he wanted to start his career, political career, he actually spoke about some of them. But along the line, he deleted. When he got what he wanted, he deleted some of those posts. You know that they brought it up and they went and docked and brought all those postings that he had and persecuted him. And then that's one of the first people that in the United States Congress had to vote and sack him. So I hope that is enough information that you would have learned from, right? Okay, good.
All righty. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate you all for the time spent, and it's been an amazing one. So you can imagine the amount of value we've gotten for this length of time. We've been able to respect time, and we're starting off loaded on Monday. So just to show this again, guys, as we're about to wrap up, we want to encourage you, go ahead
Doc,
yes, please.
One moment, let me just give this to my brothers and sisters, so that one thing, cybersecurity or IT is like medicine. You have people who specialize in eyes, eye doctor, ophthalmologists. You have people who specialize in ears. You have people who specialize in bones. Don't ask me how they are called. Please, you ask Dr. Viz. So you have all those different specialties. Now, cybersecurity, and to be a good doctor doesn't mean that you have to know all of those things. You just have to know your own sector where you're working and learn about it. IT is same like medicine, where you keep upgrades, it's good to know general knowledge, but stay focused on the sector where you want to belong. So there are different technologies. You hear more than 1,000 tools out there. You are not expected to know all of them. But when you come across them, you can learn and use them. But keep the basic principles, this foundation of cybersecurity, and then embracing any tool that you come across, you'll find it with ease because all of them are built around the same principle. So that's just what I wanted to, I didn't want to go without telling you, because you will meet somebody who will tell you, give you a particular tool. Somebody will tell you, I can use this one. If somebody tells you something, don't be worried. Learn the principles. You can always learn anything. You can always get to learn about any tool. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Pride, even before you go, I want to also let our audience know that we are not here to let you take cybersecurity. We are here to make you see the future and get into it. That's the reason why we say, hey, the future right now is going a lot as well towards AI. So what about those who may be enthusiastic about AI? So we are equally launching a course on machine learning, data science, and AI. And before we get into that course, we also would like to orientate you. So this orientation program comes up next week, Saturday, same time. So if you're not yet probably in the group where you're going to get that orientation, you may want to indicate. Just reach out to us. We're going to grant you access to that so you can get that proper orientation. So you'll be able to make a decision. So this is going to be on Saturday. So make sure you attend the orientation from Monday to Friday. And then while you do that, make sure you attend this as well on Saturday. And then the following week, we're equally going to have a webinar series on, a couple of topics as well on data science, machine learning, and AI, so that you can be able to make a well-informed decision, as we are going to be starting the program proper in April. So you're going to know which career path you want to take, at the start. So I just thought it wise to let you guys know that these are the various options that we have for you. So there's a lot to say, but the time is brief. So we want to appreciate you all once again, and I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Kevin. You've been an amazing host. I mean, I'm so jealous of those skills. I wish I were able to have just 50%.
Thank you. As you've been told, it comes with time. It comes with time.
Definitely.
Okay.
All
So
right.
thank you.
Thank you,
It's been a
Kevin,
pleasure.
and everyone, Dr. Samba and Pride, and everyone that was here today. We look forward to working with you to equip you with the skills you need for the future. Thank you.
Absolutely. So guys, so we have a feedback on LinkedIn. Just reach out to the link on LinkedIn, share. You can repost the link so that you increase more awareness. Give just write a few things, take away maybe 1-2 lines of what you've learned. That's how you start building your own network. Start from now. Don't wait until maybe you're done with the program before you start sharing your journey. You can start doing that right now, and this team is here to support you all along the way. All right, guys, make sure when you do that, tag Solavisetech, tag Kevin, tag Pride, tag myself, tag every other member on the Solavisetech team, and appreciate everyone. All right, guys.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you. Have a nice night.